Now, please welcome our final speaker for day one of the Agents of Change Summit, Jeff French, CEO of Strategic Social Marketing.
Who is that man? Show yourself. Hi. I'm the last one. 30 minutes and you're free. I'm delighted to be here with you this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to be talking about the added value of social marketing. And I love the ad, fabulous, uplifting ad. And I think we're at the cusp of something pretty special as well. All we have to do is apply what we know works and stop doing what we know doesn't work. Okay. I like to start these things. You've heard at least 50 times today the importance of segmentation and targeting. Okay, so this is a little psychographic test I want to run with you. And I've done this with several thousand people, so it's pretty well validated. So just look at those shapes and colours on the board, and I'm going to ask you to disclose which one best represents the way you operate at work, and then I'll tell you what it means. Okay? So you need to put your hand up when I ask you to, you know which one you are. Don't worry, none of them are bad, none of them mean you're stealing money, or they're all positive. Okay? Okay, so put your hand up if you think you're a green square. 1, 2, yeah, okay, about 6-7%, that's what I would expect. Green squares like a good plan. Okay, they want to know how to get from A to B to deliver that great kind of program. What about red triangles? How many of you? Ah, interesting. Less, again, about 10%. I would have thought more. You don't care about the plan. You just want to hit the target, okay? Hit the target. What about nice blue diamond, stars? Ah, a lot. Good third to half of you. You're the creative types. There's nothing you like more than a new project, design, develop, deliver it. That's what you love to do. And what about lovely yellow circles? Ah, okay. You don't care about any of that stuff. You're just here for a nice time. A nice day away from all the pressure. It's not true. Okay, if you haven't guessed already, I'm not American or Canadian or Australian. I'm British. And one of the problems that we have is cultural mistranslation. Home defence, we're quite interested in home defence. We feel a bit threatened, as lots of you guys do. So I was talking to a colleague from America about home defence, and I was saying to him, so what do you do? What do I need to get to defend my home? And what he said to me was, go get a 9mm, a couple of clips, and a box of shells. Now, I don't really understand how this is going to protect my home, but I'll give it a try. Okay. Okay. So I'm from Britain. The only thing that we lead the world in now is soft power. We are, the kind of some of the thinkers. And one of the things that we're doing a lot in social policy is applying behavioural economics, behavioural psychology, and social marketing. I was in the Prime Minister's office speaking to some of his staff, name drop, about 2 weeks ago, and my country is pretty serious about doing this stuff, not because we think it's trendy, but because it works. Okay, so if we apply some of this stuff, we can have a good impact, I think. We're interested in a lot of things and we're passionate about lots of things in the UK: football, the National Health Service, animals, language, humour, and world domination. There are only 22 countries that we've not invaded so far. Some have thrown us out, thanks very much. But we'll be back. So, 30 minutes. Why we need a more citizen-centric, people-centric approach to what we're doing. What social marketing is. And how it adds some value. I'll give you some examples around, I work around the world, but just from countries from developed countries, rather than the developing world where it's also applied an awful lot. and add some value. Okay, first problem, when we say the word marketing, in my country and many other countries across Europe and the world, that's a big problem because marketing equals bad, equals capitalism. A lot of people don't like that word. Go to France and talk about marketing and they want to lynch you, So there's an underutilization and a misinterpretation of what we're doing, I think. I mean, I don't care whether you call it, health communications marketing, marketing for behavioural change, social marketing, I don't really care. What I care about is applying what we know works and stopping what we know doesn't work. Okay, so we're about marketing for social good, applying those techniques alongside other ways to improve public service and tackle some of these social problems to create some social good that we can measure. Why? We've got four big issues, really. Big, complex problems. There are no golden or silver bullets left, no one trigger intervention that's going to solve much of what we're dealing with. We've got funding pressures in many countries, and they're going to continue. But we also positively have citizen empowerment. People are demanding a new kind of relationship with the people that are seeking to serve them and help them. And we'll unpick some of this. And we also know that information, law, legislation, incentives and penalties, and nudging, which we'll go into, are all really useful, really powerful, but they're not enough on their own. Okay, so we've got lots of big, complex problems. You're dealing with probably at least one or two of these. They all tend to interconnect as well. No simple solution. We also know if you speak to funders and donors around the world and governments, is that they're really unhappy that they don't know what is happening to their money a lot of the time. Millions of dollars, yen, euro, pounds are spent all over the world on these kinds of programs with very little good basic evaluation. And what donors say continuously are these three things. First, what's the impact of the funds that we invest? Yeah. They say that. What's the return on investment? What have we learnt? And the problem is we can't answer a lot of these questions. Okay? They're not acceptable. Anybody involved with this program here in the States? Okay, this program's been running for many years. Millions of dollars are spent on this program. It's aimed at scaring the life out of these young men by convicts, and the idea is that they then don't end up in jail. The problem is it doesn't work. It tends to make things worse, but the program is still continued to be invested in. Okay? This stuff has to be challenged. It's part of our job to challenge it. I'm not interested in social marketing as an ideology, although I think it's a very powerful one. I'm interested in it as a technician. I'm a scientist by background. I want to do what I know works, what creates good value for money, what helps and empowers citizens and reduces inequality. There are lots of reviews of social marketing. Your own CDC did this review in 2011. Says it works. There are many other meta-reviews, individual research programs and write-ups. This stuff works. Your own Health 2020 program endorses the application of social marketing and said people should be trained in it more. Okay, why? Because it works. Okay, so it works, we've got good evidence base, but there are some other reasons that we need to be taking a more citizen-centric approach to our planning and delivery of public health programs. And it's because we, citizens, have had enough of you, public health people, telling us what to do. This is what people are saying to us around the world, to all their citizens, all the governments and agencies that exist. The first thing is, I don't believe you. I don't trust you. Your job is to listen to me now. I'm in control. Help me solve the problems. Now, if we don't hear those messages, we're not going to be very effective in the programs that we develop and try to deliver. Okay, so trust. Trust is falling. This is some data from my own country. Trust is falling in all forms of authority. This is not a bad thing. This is a good thing. As people become empowered, educated, numerate, they challenge authority, rightly so. Okay? This is a good thing, but it means we have to operate differently. You'll be interested to know that only 20% of what I say is bullshit, according to this. Being a professor as I am. Okay. What does this mean in practice? It's a great book. If you haven't read it, really go on. It means citizen power. We have no option. This is a great thing. But it means we have to react and plan and deliver our programs differently. Co-creation, co-delivery, co-development, and investing in that. Okay. There's a couple of problems we have to deal with. And one of the biggest ones is the take action imperative. The people that are funding you and your programs, they want to see something happening, and they want to see it happening fast. Okay. This leads, unfortunately, to what I call premature tactification. And there are three manifestations of this. The first question, wrong question, is how can I legislate and force people into change? A lot of policy people like to do that. They've seen some good results with things like tobacco and seatbelt wearing and so on, and it's a powerful thing, but in many circumstances it doesn't work unless you take the people with you. This is an example of a photograph I took in Turkey a little while back, and what you can see, there's a law in Turkey that says you will wear your seatbelt, okay? And you'll be fined and put in jail if you don't wear it. This is a taxi driver on the way to the hotel I was staying in. Nobody in Turkey wears a seatbelt. Okay? They don't believe it. They go to the market and buy one of these things they can plug in to stop the car bleeping at them. Okay? If you don't take people with you, even if you try and use legislation, if they don't think it's appropriate, they're going to push back. It's not going to be as effective as it can be. Okay. Premature and wrong question 2 is, what messages will help me change people? Okay. I still, every week, go into meetings and people say, yeah, but what's the message? How are we going to send it? What channel should we use? No. That's not the place that we start. Okay? Powerful comms and messages, of course, are going to be a part of most programs, but that's not the place to start. This leads to 2 phenomena. The first one is called SAP. Anybody know what SAP stands for? Spray and pray. Okay, that's the tactic. Just have enough money and spray it around. There is some evidence that if you have lots and lots of money and you keep spraying, even really bad messages, it tends to work. But most of us don't have that kind of budget. And it also leads to splatters. Splatters is the answer to everything. And splatters stands for some posters, leaflets, apps, TV, education, radio, and social media. That's all we need. That will solve everything. No. Okay, third wrong question is, how can I nudge people into the change I want? Can you put up your hands if you've read the book Nudge or something about it? A few of you, okay? If you haven't, it's worth at least look on the web and you'll see a summary of it. Nudge is about appealing to the unconscious part of our mind, where most of us don't want to make decisions at all. Lots of the decisions and choices we make and behaviours that flow from them are based on the old primitive part of our brain. And that's where most of us spend 80% of our kind of conscious living. And that's what makes us happiest when we're operating like Homer Simpson. So, calls and appeals, interventions that focus on things like status quo bias, where you don't have to do anything and you get a benefit, i.e. if I enroll you you join a firm and you're automatically enrolled into the pensions scheme, then you end up with a good pension when you retire. If you have a scheme where you have to opt into a scheme, only about 1/3 of people do that, and they don't end up with a good pension. Okay? So appeals to unconscious action can work, but there are limitations to this as well. This is a great little poster that's out there now that Nancy Lee and colleagues have put together. And I'm not going to attempt a laser pointer, I'll just use my finger. Show me can help solve some of these problems. Make me can help. But help me. And I think that's where we need to be focusing more and more of our efforts. Okay, so what am I talking about? What should we do? When I say marketing, lots of you that have done, whoops, that's interesting. Some of the, how do I go back? That one, yeah. Okay, does anybody know what these, well, there you go. There's no picture, but you can see it. 4 Ps. Okay, marketing mix. Most of you, I'm sure, would have come across this stuff. It's a bit old. Okay, most of us that work in marketing are not using much of this stuff anymore. What we're focusing on now is these concepts: relationship marketing, service and intangible benefits marketing, brand, mass personalization. But king amongst all of these is the creation of value. That's what marketers are about. We've heard quite a few examples about this today. So I'm not talking just about social advertising, as important as great social advertising is, it's certainly part of the mix. I'm not talking about social media marketing. Again, really helpful, really useful, but that's not the solution of itself. What I'm talking about is these marketing principles, and I'll give you some examples from around the world of each of them. First and most important, the question you should ask yourself every day, I think, if you're in this business is, how can I create some measurable social value for the people that I'm seeking to help? That's the key question. How do you do that? By applying these 4 core concepts. Using citizen insight-driven programs. Systemic action, not one-off little projects. Co-creation, and developing social offers out of that analysis and understanding. So let's unpick that a little bit. Most important is create measurable personal and social value. Example, done quite a lot of work in Rotterdam recently, a big city in the Netherlands. If maybe put your hand up if you've been to Rotterdam or Amsterdam. Okay. It's really dangerous to you can get knocked over by a bicycle. Everybody rides a bicycle. And it's just like in the UK, it's wet and cold. Do people in Rotterdam cycle to save the environment? Well, if you do some surveys with them, the answer is no. They cycle because it's faster, it's more convenient, it's low cost, it's easy, and it gives them a sense of independence. So if we want to promote cycling, that's what we have to talk about, not saving the environment. It's not my agenda that counts, it's theirs. Try to help somebody, don't drag them to where you are. You need to step into their shoes. Okay, so how are we going to do some of this stuff? These 4 key concepts. Insight-driven programs. The need to invest before we act in understanding that the people that we're seeking to serve, usually through a variety of methods. When I look at research budgets for most public health and social, other forms of social program, too small. We don't know. We're flying half blind. We're guessing. We're taking our own prejudices into those programs to drive them. Not good enough. This is driven by an ideology, and this ideology is an old kind of patrician ideology that we know best because we're experts, and we're going to drive that down through the system. And in a world where citizens have more power and more expectation, that's not a tenable way forward. We have to move to a situation of value to citizen, because if we don't, the citizens are not going to have it. Okay. So this means we need more insight, understanding why people do things, why they don't, what they fear, what they aspire to. We're trying to do that. It means we need to go beyond basic epidemiology and demographics. So here's a little quiz for you. Who you want to guess who this person might be? It's not me. I'm slightly younger. Correct. It's Charlie. Okay. The future king at some point, he hopes. That's him, but it's also Ozzy Osbourne. the Prince of Darkness. Now, I would venture that if you were wanting to encourage both of these people to take some exercise, you might need to do it in a slightly different way. You need to understand them differently and what would motivate or get in the world. This is a great, if you're involved in exercise promotion, this is a great program that we're currently running in the UK based on some of these principles. It's called This Girl Can. There's some great videos on YouTube about it. It's about encouraging older women to take some exercise. Lots of older women don't like taking exercise. One of the things, and that's driven by three big insights. Appearance, they don't like the people who are looking at them while they're exercising. They don't think they're going to look very good. They don't think they have a very high level of ability. And it doesn't fit in with the priorities of their life, time, the other things they need to be doing. One of the things that we have found that these women will do and take up, get back into doing some physical activity, is going swimming. So there's some great ads about promoting swimming amongst these people. But what we found was there's a big barrier in the public swimming pools. Women are very happy to be in the changing room, changing into their swimming costume. They're very happy to be in the water doing their swimming. What they're not happy about is moving from the changing room into the pool, okay, because somebody can see them. So what they do, people at the back we can't see it, but putting things like having robes and just hooks where you can put your robe near the pool encourages women to go and swim. So we need kind of total assistance. We need citizen-informed planning. And this needs to be mandated. The policymakers have a role here. It's not acceptable, I don't think, for policymakers to accept bad practice. They need to be mandating that if you're running one of these intervention projects, you need to be able to demonstrate to them that you have the data that will underpin your program. Data about citizens, what will help them, what will not. This is a guide you can download for free from the EU, who endorses this approach. This is from the ECDC, Guide to Social Marketing, and many of you will know the CDC Synergy as well, another great planning tool. Okay, second way we go about doing this, so insight-driven. Second is systemic analysis and action, not one-off projects. This is one of my favourite diagrams in the world. Some of you will have seen it. It's from the Foresight piece of work. You don't need to read it, but it's a serious analysis of what causes obesity. Okay, and what you can take from it is it's complicated. There's lots of stuff we have to do. To tackle that, we need interventions that are going to cut through lots of those various nodes. Okay, so we need to be strategic in our thinking. And what most of you do, I would guess, is what I still do in part and trying to move away from, is be operational. How do I run a good project? Okay? Running good projects is important, but it's not enough. If you're working with obesity, you probably would have seen this report from McKinsey, looking at all the evidence around what we know about tackling obesity, where the strength of the evidence is, and where the gains are to be made. And again, you don't need to read the slide. The slide's message is we need lots of stuff, okay, and a mix of it. That's what I mean by systemic. This means operating not just down here, operation level, running our great projects. It's about what is the strategy? What's the policy that underpins this? So if you're really serious about the work that you're doing, and I guess my challenge to you is, it's not enough to run a great project. What you need to be doing is trying to influence the organisation in which you work to make it more citizen-centric. That's the big game. You can do it. This is Vincent Rosen, who works in Rotterdam. He's the CEO of the health department there. All programs in Rotterdam that aim at influencing citizens and help them are based on social marketing principles. This is a great example from Australia. I've got some colleagues here. This is Vic Health's complex systems approach. Great video again that explains to you how you can apply some of this systems thinking to creating solutions. Okay, so insight-driven systems approach. Next is relationships and co-creation. Anybody flown first class on the Virgin Atlantic from London to New York. No? I'm surprised. And the salaries that you earn, you'd all be doing it. You wish, yeah. If you fly on Virgin Atlantic, this is a commercial example of relationship building. You don't get any plastic tray. You get a nice, proper tray with proper cutlery, and you get a salt and pepper shaker that looks something like this. And if you're like me and about 70% of other people, you think, I've paid $5,000 for my flight, I'm going to steal these, because they're quite cool. And on the bottom of them, it says, pinched from Virgin Atlantic. They know you're going to pinch it. These cost nothing to them. It creates a relationship between us. Okay. So, co-creation, working with people. Again, there are great programs. The Epode program, some of you may know that. It's gone global now. This is a city-based program looking at a whole range of interventions in a coordinated way to tackle obesity. Okay? Working with and through people and the civic institutions. I know we've got a couple of colleagues from Japan here. CoolBiz is a great program in Japan. It's about co-creation between the public sector, the private sector, and people like the fashion and music industries. And this is about changing the dress code culture in Japan. My son lives in Japan. When you go to work, it's really hot and sticky in the summer. Everybody goes to work wearing more or less what I'm wearing now, although I would be a radical because I've not got a white shirt and a plain tie, okay? But you're expected to go to work like that, even when it's really hot. That means you whack the air conditioning up when you get to work, causes lots of energy to be used. So they're introducing across a coordinated system across all these sectors to encourage people to dress differently to go to work, result less air conditioning costs. Okay. Fourthly, we're almost there. We need to develop compelling, relevant, and sustained social offers. Usually, part of that is great social advertising and media and digital promotions, but not always. The most important thing is it's compelling, not to me, because I think it's cool, but to the people that it's aimed at. And this is the last kind of little example, really. As you probably know, the UK are champion alcohol consumers. Okay? We love to drink. And this is a picture from this Christmas in Manchester that kind of sums it up. We have a big problem with binge drinking on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday and Saturday evenings. Okay, so this is a big problem for the police. Costs lots of money. One of the problems in particular, boys and girls, of course, but is young women going out and drinking too much. Lots of nasty things happen to the people that kind of lose control sometimes. And we want to do something about that. So we did a lot of research with them. And the first point of attack was, can we get them to drink more sensibly? Maybe drink a bit less, so they don't fall over, bang their head, break their wrist, end up in hospital or something worse. And the answer to that research was no. They're going to drink, we're not going to stop drinking, so forget that. If that's your tactic, it's not going to work. Okay, let's just park that. So now what we want them to do, we can't stop them drinking, but we want to stop them falling over and hurting themselves. That's the behaviour, don't fall over. One of the big contributors to women falling over, as well as the alcohol, is shoes. Okay? Oh, well then the problem's simple, isn't it? All we have to do is get them to not go out wearing high-heeled shoes. Not going to work. Okay. So, what do? Well, what the police do is they give them what we call flip-flops. I think you call them thongs or something. Okay? So when the police are spotting these girls and they're a bit wobbly, they say, oh, hello, you doing okay? Have a pair of these, and they're pink or some nice colour. And I say, oh, thanks very much. Put them on. They don't fall over. Okay. The police force where this started in Plymouth, they worked out they only needed to stop 2 women falling over in a year to pay for the whole programme. Okay. This is based on understanding what these girls will do and won't do. And the spin-off of this is now the girls put them in their bag and take them out with them. Or they buy these little pump shoes. They think, oh, that's a good idea. I'll put a pair of those on. This becomes a sustainable programme because it's based on what people value. Okay? It also creates a fantastic relationship between the police on the streets and these women. Instead of the police being there telling them doing bad things, we've now got a positive relationship. Okay? They also give them, by the way, and their boyfriends, what we call lollipop. So it's a piece of candy on a stick. Any idea why they might do that? Sugar rush? No. It's to shut them up, basically. Have one of them. Oh. Okay. It works. It reduces civic violence and noise pollution. There are no messages, there are no posters in this program. You have some great programs here as well that I think don't mess with Texas is another great example. So it's nothing to do with the current political. Okay. So you do this, and there are some fantastic social marketing programs in the US, as many of you know. Okay, to sum up. It's about, the key slide is, how can I create some measurable personal and social value? Ideally, in terms of measurable behaviour that's changed, that leads to a positive health outcome. How do I do that? I do that by applying these evidence and science-based principles. I drive my program based on a deep contextual understanding of the people that I'm seeking to serve. Systemic action, not little projects. If I have to do a project, that's all I'm empowered to do, I'll do that, but I'm damn going to try and get this connected with everything else that's going on. If you're somebody that's in a position of authority, it's your responsibility to take a strategic approach and not commission just little projects. Co-creation, it's not about me making you do stuff, it's about us working together to create the solution. More sustainable, more acceptable. And then creating compelling social offers that people actually want and will respond to. This is also, I would contend, a deeply respectful and democratic way to work. This is not about us telling them what to do. It's about us collectively working together to make the world a little bit better. And just to finish, I was kind of intimating earlier, I think there are two games that we are all playing when we're at work. And the first game, the little fish game, is more efficient and effective social programs. We've heard a lot about how to do that today. And this is really important. This is something we can all try and do, apply best practice based on evidence and understanding. But this is the small game. The big game, the big fish, is this one. How do we create measurable social value powered by respect for citizens, co-creation, and systemic action? And that means the organisations in which we work need to operate in a different way. Okay? Ways that are driven by deep understanding of the people that we seek to serve. If we do that, I think great things are going to flow from it. Thanks very much.